Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heavily Altered Podcast.
Jesus.
Episode.
Do you like how he said it?
Me.
Do you like how he said it super fast so you wouldn't comment on the pause between welcome and two?
I didn't even think about it. But yeah. Episode.
That was
Like,
a
ladies and gentlemen,
callback.
welcome to the. He just said it really fast.
That's what we call in the biz a callback.
To a previous
The biz.
episode. Hey,
What
if
biz
you
are you
like
in, Luke?
listening to people talk about games
The
or you're
comedy
interested
biz.
in games, go check out episode 10 right before this. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. So this is
That's
the
our plug.
He-
yeah. go ahead.
Just wanted
Episode-
to ask y'all. Just wanted to ask.
Well, we
I
haven't
haven't
said
said
the episode,
number,
Luke.
bro. Jeez, bro.
Luke's
Jeez.
just ready. He's just rushing right in.
Episode 11. All right, Luke. What did you
Okay,
want
Luke,
Just wanted to
now you
ask
can
y'all-
say it.
Just wanted to ask y'all. How do you think 2021's gonna go?
to say? My topic, but okay. Bad.
What
I think
a,
it's
what
gonna be
a,
very
what a
bad.
smooth transition. Honestly, let's relish in that moment for a second. Luke really, besides the fact that he interrupted us before we even said the episode name, he managed to smoothly transition between no topic and a topic that was probably the last one on the list. Oh wait, no, I guess it was the first one on our list.
It was the
but,
very first one on the
but
list.
not
you
because
idiot.
but they weren't in order of how we wanted to talk about them. It's
Guys,
fine.
I just wanted to say my feet have been so dry recently that they're peeling off skin like by the layer of skin.
I think you're
you know.
turning into a snake, Luke. He's
I don't
just
think you know how
shedding.
snakes work. It's not the whole feet. It's like sores on each toe, on one knuckle on each toe. There's like a sore, and it's just shedding skin every so often.
Beautiful.
No one
Thank you
wants to
for
hear
It's
about
just-
this. No one
Beautiful.
wants to hear about your feet shedding, dude. Naimur, you agree with me
Beautiful.
on that, right?
No, I love it. Talk about it more.
Oh, you do love it? Oh, I guess I'm in the
No,
minority.
I only brought this up. 'cause I
What do you
wanted
mean
to know if
minority,
you-
bro? If it's
Had any
between the two
appointments?
of us, and I'm in the 50% and you're in the 50%, then no one.
No,
has a
Luke
minority.
is considered
They're
in this
also-
because he thinks people should
These sores are also appearing on my pelvic region, mostly in my pelvic region actually. Like for the
They're
most
actually
part, like,
appearing all over his
vast
body, and they're
majority.
very black. And
Luke,
and
you're
they're-
teasing
and
me
sometimes they
that your time
burst.
is up, Luke. It's making me quite happy. Don't tease me now. Making me too excited. All right.
Luke is actually reintroducing smallpox into our.
Yeah.
How,
It just
how do you guys
is-
feel
What do you think
about? How do you guys
coronavirus
feel
is?
about the new strain of coronavirus? Speaking of like new strain,
I'm
Are you guys worried
basically
about it?
desensitized to everything at this point. Not like
Yeah, at this
desensitized, but
point-
it's just like every news I hear about COVID where it's like the other day there was a news story that said a person dies in LA, just the city of LA. I think that's what it was. Every 10 minutes. One person dies of COVID every 10 minutes in the city. It's like that's just one city, and I was like unfazed by it, which is a little
Yeah.
sad. But
I mean, yeah, think about it. I say this all the time. It's like when death toll in America hit 100,000, everyone was like, "Whoa, it's a big deal." And when it hit 200,000,
not everyone. Let's be
Nobody
honest. There are
cared.
people to this day who still don't take it seriously. But
Yeah, but then when it hit
Yeah.
200,000, like it's like almost nobody really cared. I'm not saying
Yeah.
almost nobody cared, but like there's a lot of people that just was like, so what? Like I think when it's like 10 people, it's a tragedy.
Mhm.
When it's like 10,000, it becomes a statistic. That's like the
yeah,
saying, right?
there is that saying. I don't know who said
So-
it, but somebody did.
So
Wait.
I think it's a big deal.
Actually, that was Hitler. You just quoted Hitler, you Nazi.
I don't think
Darn.
he did. I really don't think he did, but I'm hoping.
No, it's
he
probably. I
did.
think I'm pretty sure it's actually Stalin. Got me.
That was it.
I'm
Yeah.
90%
I think
sure
he
it
might
was.
actually. He could be
I'm
right.
actually not kidding here.
Is it really? Oh,
I
dang.
think it is.
Ah, gosh, Luke, you're outing me as a pseudo-Marxist. What's wrong with you? So sad.
Joke's on you. Joke's
I don't
on you.
know, I
I'm
think
actually
a
gonna
lot of
start reading philosophy.
Oh my God! It is from Joseph Stalin. A
Yikes.
single death
I'm
is
a
a
king.
tragedy. A
I'm a
million
king.
deaths is a statistic. How did you?
Listen, I did not say that. I did not say that. I said 10. That's. Or I, said
I know
10
what you
is a
said,
tragedy.
but it's just funny how it managed to be basically a quote from Joseph Stalin.
I knew
I'm
it was a
just
quote. I
saying-
didn't realize it was from him. But
I'm gonna start reading some philosophy.
I hear this all the time
I
from you,
bought
bro.
Yeah, you said this. When are
I've
you
never
gonna
said
start?
it before.
Luke, I think
You
I'm going to be
literally
fair.
told us last week you got a book in psychology.
Luke,
Got a book.
Luke, I want to be fair.
Namer?
So I'm going to treat that as if someone that I don't really know also said that they were trying to read philosophy. Okay?
Mhm.
So I'm going to be fair.
So-
Because I think this is the year of being equal. I don't care. Literally, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, but then you expect me to care when you say that you made homemade fried chicken?
Yeah. Because
Did
guess
you
what?
make
At
homemade
least the
fried
effects
chicken?
of that, yeah, it's tangible. You know why? Because I fed people. What did you do with your psychology?
Wait, I just want to point this out.
This is so stupid.
Luke is crying
An
right now.
anti-liberal arts cast.
No. Luke is
I'm
crying
kidding.
right
That's
now.
cool.
Physically crying.
I think
I'm
Luke,
saying-
you would genuinely like The Good Place because they talk about a lot of philosophical viewpoints about
See,
life
I'm just gonna
and death.
I'm just gonna pull the Daniel trick now.
Mhm.
Whenever we recommend something, I'm not gonna play it I'm not gonna do anything about it for like 3 or 4 years, and then
See, why
I'm
is
gonna start it.
Naimur? I don't understand. I feel like Luke is getting progressively more and more petty about me not watching TV shows. Like,
Because
I
he
just-
knows
It's
who you
not-
are now.
he knows I'm bad at like time management, and I'm so bad at committing to anything, right?
I think
And
he
then
just thinks
he
it's
goes on these
annoying.
long rants about how I'm not gonna watch that TV show until Daniel watches the entirety of Game of Thrones and The Expanse.
Oh, but you're so good at sitting in a chair all day.
You might have to cut out those. Yeah, you might have to cut out those interjections where he says "oh, but." Like,
Sure,
10
I'll
times.
mute him there because his is him.
And then
wasn't
when he
that
says
important.
"oh, but you're," okay. Anyway, it's just I think a lot of people. Well, I think Luke's primarily annoyed because you're like his best friend. That you can't have the same interest.
I think
as
he's
him.
offended because it's almost as if I don't trust his opinion. I guarantee I trust his
No,
opinion.
I don't think it's that.
It's
I
not
just think
that,
he
it's-
finds it annoying that it's one thing to watch something and then not like it that someone likes, right? Like I think Luke would be
Sure.
fine with
Mhm.
that. I think it's another thing when he recommends it and he's super excited because he thinks it's right up your alley, and you don't even give it the time of day because you don't have good time
It's-
management skills.
See, but here's the thing. It is on my to-do list. It just will get done eventually.
Never.
Daniel,
Just
no,
like-
Luke,
Daniel,
hey,
I've
Daniel,
seen
you don't
you-
do
He has
anything.
been
I've
telling
seen
me-
your
he's
to-do
been
list.
telling
I've
me
seen
to
your
watch-
to-do list.
He's been telling me. Well, it's not a physical to-do list. It's a mental to-do list. My physical to-do
No, I
list is a
know.
little lack.
I know. No, I
Hey,
know.
hey,
Oh, you can
idea.
see inside my brain. You can see inside my brain.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're
Here's-
mental
here's
to
my
list,
point. I watched The Expanse. I did all of season 1. How long did it take me? Probably upwards of 2 years. But I did do it. It happened.
No, I only watched The Expanse after my cruise
You
ship.
lie.
After I went on a cruise,
You
which was like
liar.
March of this
Dude,
year.
I started
Yeah, it was not
attacking
that long
COVID.
ago. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
but
Name one other thing.
Game of
I watched
Thrones,
Even
season
knows.
1 of the Game of Thrones. There you go.
The
And
Boys,
then you liked it
Neither
and
of you
stopped
seen it.
watching it.
The Boys.
Luke, but then I watched season 2 and I didn't like it. I told you guys that. I got like 3 episodes
you
in
didn't.
and it's so long. Yes,
No,
I did.
You never said that.
I've
No, you
told you
didn't.
this multiple times.
You've never
but
said that before.
Yes, I have.
No,
I've
he
literally
stopped
told you
watching
Never said
it,
this.
and then
I
he was
told you-
justifying it because he wasn't interested anymore. But he just stopped watching it. That's the only reason.
I did not.
This happens to me a
I did
lot.
not just stop watching it. I watched the first 3 episodes and I was like, once again, it feels like exposition dump for a really cool episode in episode 10. It's like, why can't you just have like really interesting? Anyways, that's my opinion on Game of Thrones.
You've
They
never
take
said
forever
that
to build up to
before.
important things. That's
Yeah,
my
but
complaint.
I think some shows
And great,
have a
it's-
burn to that.
You know what? It's probably a fantastic. In fact, I'm not going to say probably. It is a fantastic show. I am just an impatient.
The more I think about the show itself, like the ending,
Yeah.
the more I don't like the show. Like I didn't actually hate the show when it ended. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the ending of the show, I thought it was like, oh, that's fine, because I'm one of the people that started binge watching it like a week or like a summer before
Mhm.
it came out, or like the final season came out. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Like that ending was like cool, but like I can't imagine the people that were watching it
Mhm.
since day one on HBO
Yeah.
every
Hmm.
week for like 10 years. Like I can't imagine that. I'd be probably so mad if that's how it ended.
Hey! You're gonna offend Luke. He liked the last season, okay? So quiet down.
I thought it was fine. I thought
No,
it was
just
fine.
The more I think about
I
the
didn't-
ending, the
didn't
less I like it.
Mhm.
The more I think, the less
Yeah.
I like it. It's like Cyberpunk.
See,
The
I
more
still
about
think
it,
I
the
still
less
think
like
the first 5 to 6 seasons were like probably the best of all time.
it.
Mhm.
Sorry, best Game of Thrones seasons of all time. But then the last 2 were
The
actually
first
some of the
5 or
worst.
6 seasons, out of the entire show, which is only like 7 or 8. Yeah, those are the best of the entire show. So basically, like 90% of the show.
I think 4 through 6 is probably the prime of the show. 4 through
Mhm.
6.
Yeah,
Season 3 is just a little boring until the end. But then-
until the very end. Yeah.
yeah, and then seasons 4 through 6 are really good. Like you just can't put them down. Season
Mhm.
6 in particular is really good.
Yeah.
which makes me so weirded out. Like, or not weirded out, but so
How
astonished.
they
Like
drop
how
the ball? How they drop
Yeah.
the ball so hard?
because season 6 had like primarily like their own original stuff. Because the whole idea was
Yeah.
that they were gonna like each season was gonna be a book, right? There's only 5 books currently because George R. R. Martin writes really slow, and so they were doing a season per book. So they were gonna eclipse the books at some point. So like they were like, what are they gonna do? So they said they were gonna do like some original content, and everyone was like, I don't know about that. And then season 6 was primarily like original content, and it was really good. Like it was really good. I liked
Yeah.
it a lot. And then like
But see,
season
Namer,
7,
there is. I think Namer, you definitely are in the minority when you say that.
no, season 6 was really good universally. I think. It was good.
No.
Battle
A
of
lot
the
of people
Bastards.
think so.
I like
Battle
how
of the
he adds.
Bastards.
No.
Universally,
there were some
I
good
think.
episodes. There were good episodes, but
It was just
season
such a
6
good burn,
in general
man.
is not.
was
No,
such a
I
good
think it was
burn.
really good. See,
Yeah.
the reason Daniel dislikes the show is the reason that I like it.
Why?
Is
Because it's
because
just
of
like
the world building. The
world
world
building?
building, and it's because it's slow.
I like.
Because it takes its time.
No, I think it's too much. Like it's like the first 2 seasons are like outside looking in. You know what I mean? Like it just shows everything, but I think it gets a little bit more nuanced and more in depth in specific areas and points in the later seasons, which kind of makes sense, you know. Especially with Daenerys, like Daenerys and her stuff is like really interesting. Like Daenerys is pretty kind of boring for the first 2 seasons.
See, that's the funny thing is, she is my least favorite part of the books and was my least favorite part of the show. It's
She was
whenever
too.
I
She's
get
a
to her
woman.
chapters- Whenever I get to her chapters, yes. Whenever I get to her chapters, I think,
not
oh my
really.
god, I just want to get back to Westeros.
Whenever I get to her
think-
chapters, I think, God, a female protagonist.
No, it's a slow burn, but I think she gets really interesting by season 5. Like when she actually has power.
No,
the other
see,
reasons.
that's even the thing is like, she's like those the plots in like whatever she's doing are really good. Like her whole storyline is really good. It's just a departure from everything else.
Yeah, it's really decent because it's a slow burn that her quest is.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna one day come back with all this stuff. To,
Even
like,
though-
No, again, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just because it splits from everything else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even though
I'm
I
so
haven't
invested
watched
in,
this and I
in the
don't know,
other story,
even though I
in the
don't
rest
know
of the
any
story.
this,
Yeah.
sorry, I keep
your opinion is
interrupting. I just
valid
wanna say
from
this.
here on out. They know about.
I just want to say
as soon as
it's
you
one of
speak,
those
but,
things where, and it happens in like The Last of Us 2. This is one of our complaints, where you have like not even just a tonal shift, but like you reach a point of climax and then you suddenly jump to something completely else. Which,
Exactly,
if you don't
yeah.
know The Last of Us 2,
this
they
is
do
not
that.
nearly as big of a deal as you think.
Sure,
it is
it's
in
not
Last of Us
nearly
2.
that bad. I'm not saying it
No,
is,
this is
but
just
it's
the
like
issue
a-
that I have with it.
Well, I think
in
just
the books and in the show, to a lesser extent, but
most
mostly in the
early on,
books, is
she's
that-
just a very weak character. Like she's just really quiet. She's just really like which I think is the point. So that's why she's just
well, that's
not that
obviously the
likable.
point. Yeah, that's
And
that's
then
her whole
once she
arc.
like builds into her confidence and stuff, like obviously it's very
Mhm.
interesting her story and stuff, and just like the friendships.
No,
she makes with,
like I
people
said,
along the way.
like I said, her story arc is really really good.
by the
but
time
it's
she meets
just-
Peter
it's just
Dinklage,
whenever-
I always call him Peter Dinklage. I never call him Tyrion, right?
Yeah.
That's his name, right? Peter Dinklage. By the time she meets Peter Dinklage, I think that's like the best. Like
Yeah.
that is like that's like really
Peter,
interesting.
Peter Dinklage sounds like a name that would be in Game of Thrones.
Peter
it not?
Don Dinklage. No. Tyrion Lannister. Yeah, let's depart from Game of Thrones because
Yeah,
Well, I
because
just
I,
wanted
I
to say-
tried I tried
I
to
just wanted
add
to say-
information, but couldn't.
I want to say that the new series is coming out this year or the next year.
Game of
The
Thrones.
new Game of Thrones series.
For
Yeah,
real?
they're doing a new series. Yeah,
Wait, actually,
It's about-
Speaking.
it's
Wow.
about the Dance of the Dragons, which
so
is
it's
like
it's the Targaryen family, so it's a prequel.
yeah.
So it's like
Um,
it's like 100 years or two before, right?
About 100 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it's
interesting.
actually about 150. It's actually about 150 years.
So is it like the generation before the current early Game of Thrones perspective?
No, it's a few generations before.
Is it like when they
This
come
is so
to
it's
Westeros?
gonna be about the Targaryen Civil War, one of the
So
Targaryen Civil Wars.
So they're in what's that place called? I forgot what it's called. Where they're from?
No, they're in Westeros.
Okay. No, but what's
See-
that place
see,
called?
I
You know what I'm
have-
talking
Essos or Valyria?
about? Valeria. Yes. So it's not in there at all because I think a lot of their
No.
lore. It's also the thing about Game of Thrones, Daniel. We're gonna stop talking about it soon. Is that the thing I found interesting is like when they refer to the past lore or history, like what happens before the show is super interesting because they basically talk
I
about a
love
revolution that happened, overthrowing the king, and then like
Yeah.
all the story about like these fights and stuff, and just what led them in these positions in the first place. Like, you know, Ned Stark loses his brother, or his two oldest brothers,
Yeah.
because the king is like mad. It's like super interesting. Just and they don't even
Yeah.
say that much in the show. They refer to it a little bit, but like if you just like read it up or something, it's just super interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
I forgot what I was going to say, so we can move on.
I was gonna say, speaking of new shows coming out, this is just
Tenet.
this is a small, very small thing I just wanted to comment on. Did you guys hear Hayden Christensen is gonna play Anakin?
This
in
happened
Anakin
months ago?
Skywalker.
Yeah,
7 months ago.
I know
and
I
It
know
was like
it
2
happened
weeks
months
ago.
ago.
Naimur,
right?
it was
But
like 2 weeks ago. Chill out.
I just I
like 3
just
weeks
saw
ago.
something about it and I was like, oh, that's cool, because I knew
Yeah.
I do not care. I'm sorry, because
Yeah.
I have no love for the prequels, and Hayden Christensen was one of
wouldn't.
the weaker parts about the prequels. So
his acting, or sorry, his I think it's
His
not
lines.
necessarily his
I
acting.
don't think
his
his acting
lines.
is
Yeah,
bad.
it's his dialogue. The dialogue. Can we just put this out there? George Lucas. I don't know if he writes it, but if he does write the dialogue in 4, 5, and
He
6,
did.
and 1, 2, and
In
3,
the pre-
he is
no, in the
bad.
prequels he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
he is bad at writing dialogue. It is so cringy and clunky sometimes.
See, in the original trilogy, he was good because he
Yeah.
didn't
There are
write that
times
dialogue.
I think we need
No,
to
that's
rewatch
not
it.
dialogue.
and-
he wrote a lot of
we need to
dialogue in them.
rewatch it because there are a lot of moments where somebody just says something and it just sounds out of place because they're saying it, and then somebody else is like, "All right, okay, let's do that," and it's just very. I
We
don't
need
know.
to go.
It's-
We need to go to Toshi Station to get some power converters. Like, that's like that's from episode 4. Yeah, and then like
Yeah.
they even like the cast even made fun of him like back then in like the
Yeah.
70s
No, I know.
and 80s. Like they were like saying like about his like lines, and he's just like sitting there like, you know, being roasted and like
See,
'cause-
the thing is about those movies is the reason that the writing ended up being pretty good for the most part is because the cast changed it,
yeah.
right?
I mean, Harrison
That's
Ford
what-
says
fair.
stuff that's
so
improvised.
yeah.
And like the reason they didn't do that in the prequel trilogy is because the cast was primarily much younger
Maybe.
and much less
Here's
experienced.
okay.
No,
hold
this
on.
is a fact. This is what happened.
I just
you,
want to
Rick.
say, people criticize 7, 8, and 9 for not being like planned out from the beginning, which Disney probably should have done when they made
Yeah.
new movies. They should have planned out what their trilogy was going to be. But
Just
anyways,
like kind of looked at George Lucas's overarching plan and then be like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that, but maybe we could take this 1 or 2 things. You know,
Exactly.
Or just have him on as an
people,
advisor.
but people
know.
like point to 4, 5, and 6 as the example of like a plot developing over a trilogy, and it's like you do realize that there was
Yeah, no
stuff
plan.
added
Any of
in
it
each
planned.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like first of all, nowadays I think I don't know if we talked about this on a podcast, but nowadays it's so obvious that, spoiler alert, Vader is Luke's father. But when people watch that in the theaters for the first time, they genuinely thought he was lying. They're like, that's so absurd.
Yeah, see,
There's no
the
way
reason-
that's true, because they didn't build up
The
to it at
reason
all.
it was so crazy, yeah,
It's
the
also
reason
not
it was
earned,
so
you know
crazy
what I
was
mean?
because
It
they
just doesn't make
literally
sense.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Luke?
As far as criticism for
Mm-hmm.
the new movies go, the new trilogy goes,
Treacle.
it
Oh, I
pisses
hate that.
most of the shut the freak up. Most of the criticisms about Rey
Mm-hmm.
really make me mad because they're not really valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because she's a woman. That's why
How
they
dare
hate
you
her.
have a female protagonist?
I think the
Because like
coolest.
they argue.
Go ahead, Luke. Sorry, I don't want. Oh,
So people argue that she's too OP, but she's not. She fails in every movie more than Luke did.
Yeah, she literally
To be
doesn't
honest.
win like in any fight, in any like late lightsaber fight.
Yeah.
Like if you actually look at it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
Not
because she can hold
anyone,
her
but, like,
own.
a lot of them.
It's because she can hold her own, even though she's had like the
She can
least
hold her
amount of
own.
training.
She can. No, she didn't have the least amount of training though.
But she didn't have that much training.
But if you
It's the thing.
watch,
Before-
if you watch her fight
yeah.
scene with Kylo Ren in like episode 7,
She's
or whatever,
losing
she's
the entire
running away
time.
the entire time. She's literally trying
Yeah.
to not fight him as much as possible. So it's like,
been a minute
sure,
since
there's
I've
some
seen
argument
those.
for like, oh well, but she's
But see-
still managing to escape.
But
It's like,
Naimur,
whatever.
it was established at the beginning of the 7th movie, the first of the trilogy, that she knew how to fight already. That's the thing.
yeah.
So she already knew how to
Okay.
fight.
Or
That's
people,
why she
oh,
can
you
hold
know
her
what?
own.
People complain like, well, you know, in episode 1, you learn that Anakin can race pod racers, so that's how he becomes a pilot. And you know,
Hmm.
in episode 4, you learn that Luke, you know, helps build robots and flies that one speeder or whatever thingy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so he
And
knows how to
yeah,
pilot
no,
stuff.
he
And then they're
knows
like,
how
but Ray
robots
never
works, and he
learned.
plays
It's
with
like,
the toy.
excuse me, she literally salvages parts from flying machines. Of course she knows how to,
And
like...
she definitely, she definitely, like, is a pilot. Because they definitely mention it. They mention that she's flown in atmosphere a few times.
Oh, yeah, and also,
Yeah.
I want to point out, like, Anakin, when he's first flying the pod racer, barely crashes. If he crashes, it's like somebody else doing it, right? Somebody
That
else
wasn't his
interfering.
first time flying it, though.
Okay, sure, not first time flying it, but like when they establish him as a pilot. Same thing for Luke. He doesn't have any issues flying it. At least when Rey flies
She
the
crashed
Millennium
it a few
Falcon,
times.
she crashes it multiple times. Anyways.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't realize this. Did you guys... I'll finish this out. Did you guys know, like... Because, you know, you forget stuff over time. I've just heard so much criticism about the movie that I forgot that the whole thing where Luke tries to kill Kylo Ren doesn't technically actually happen that way. That's how Kylo Ren remembers it.
Yeah.
I
know.
just forgot that.
That's
so many
another
people...
that's another part of that's another like criticism that I hate is that it's sort of Luke's character because it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's like
it didn't actually happen.
It's
like
Kylo
that.
Ren's or like thoughts of how it actually happened, and it's like
Yeah, I actually liked Last Jedi more than a lot of people do.
I
don't see the hate.
A lot of people. That's another. I mean, I've already mentioned it just a few seconds ago, but a lot of people really hated Luke's characterization, and it's like 20 years have passed. A lot happens in 20 years.
Like he just hates life, bro.
People lose themselves. Yeah.
I would also like to point out how I am not super snobby about Star Wars like some people are. I don't know the lore all that much, but what I will say is I found 7, 8, and 9 entertaining. I wasn't sitting there. There's that one scene that they like to analyze as a fight scene, choreography wise. You know the one where they're in the throne room and they have all the red guys? Yeah, is that. People hate that scene so much. And I understand, like, looking back, when people analyze it, I can acknowledge, okay, sure, those were flaws. Okay, yeah, the choreography's bad. Okay, yeah, it's a weird timing because a plot thing happens right before it, blah, blah, blah. But when I was watching the movie, I wasn't thinking that. Like, normally I am. Yeah. Normally I do think about that. But when it's Star Wars, I just go in to entertain myself. You know? Like, I don't know. That's my problem with most people that analyze these movies. These aren't meant to be, like...
Because you're not...
critically acclaimed masterpieces.
I'm just saying, Star Wars movies and Marvel movies and DC movies, they're not films, okay? They're not films.
Movies. Dude,
They're
who said
movies.
that? Who was it that got really upset?
I don't know who
Martin
said
the director.
Scorsese.
Yeah, Martin
Scorsese. Yeah.
And then
he like did
I hate that so much. I hate that so much. Just
but
shut
no, he did a rebuttal and he was like, "Oh, I was wrong. Like I was just like a little bit unbased." Yeah, and like apparently someone explained to him, or like some Marvel advisor explained to him that like the scroll, or is it scroll, right? Or Kroll, Kree, Scroll and Kree war. Yeah, the Scroll versus Kree war is like it's like an allegory towards like the Italians in America or something, or like Jewish people in America or something, like persecuted.
Right. So
like,
there are like
so interesting
depth to the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like that's so interesting. I never really saw it like that, and like but I don't know. That could probably be like fan service or like just like he's trying to appeal to everyone to make sure The Irishman does well on Netflix back then.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Guys, I didn't actually hate on Marvel, guys. It's okay.
Hey, I didn't really hate them, bro. Watch my movie The Irishman on Netflix now, please. Yeah, I mean it's like I don't know.
It's my opus magnum.
I just hate the snobbery that there is in a lot of film communities.
It's just film culture. Everybody, like the younger people, especially, they just like they see Wes Anderson. He's like the first director most people see that does something different, you know, and like they're like, "Wow, this is visionary, unique, amazing," and then like they just like, "Oh, how could you guys just watch Martin Scorsese?" Or like, how do you guys just watch these Marvel movies that are so formulaic?
I know.
I don't understand.
So why don't you? Can you not just appreciate?
Christopher Nolan is a big budget movie maker. It's like
Dude, I think the thing that I love about Christopher Nolan so his movies are getting very hit miss regards. I don't even think so. I think Tenet was good. We watched Tenet, so this is a good
talk about
transition.
it in a second. We'll talk about it. In a second.
But
they were okay. We can talk.
Yeah, we will talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
Hold your horses, Luke. Hold your horses. We got it.
Hold your horses, Naimur. Hold your horses.
So he's spoken to Irish.
I don't think that was a word. I don't think there was a word in that. All right, Naimur.
He busted out his Irish language. Okay, so So obviously Christopher Nolan, he got very popular with the Batman trilogy. So when Batman Begins came out, like you have to think for the times. Like, I know we're like a little spoiled with how good superhero movies are now, right? Like they're for the most part pretty good. Like back then, any superhero movie they would do was absolute garbage. So like think about like Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Like
Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I think
Batman stuff.
they're the exception. I would say.
They're kind of the exception. The first one's like good, but then the second one's good too. But like there's still cringe in them. Like you can't watch them without cringing at least once or twice.
Yeah.
Just watching the movie.
The acting is still a little like,
and then like Ang Lee's Hulk. Like Ang Lee is an amazing director.
That was so bad.
Ang Lee's an amazing director. He directed. Did he direct Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? I think he did. He directed.
I don't know anything he did.
He directed Life of Pi. Like he's one of the I think he's one of the few directors that have won Best Director multiple times. Like he's won it twice for Life of Pi and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and he did Brokeback Mountain as well. That's a great movie too.
Brokeback Mountain, Life of Pi, Gemini Man, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then Hulk.
Yeah, exactly, right? So everybody was like, Ang Lee's doing this movie. It must be amazing. And the movie's garbage, right? So Christopher Nolan really changed that because he kind of put Batman in like a serious forefront, right? Like nobody really thought of it like that. Like, oh, make Batman serious? His parents did die, from a mugging.
Right, but if you look at all the old stuff, it's all just kind of like them wearing silly costumes and stuff like that. And
yeah. So I think it's Batman Begins in that regard was really cool, especially with Liam Neeson and Ra's al Ghul, and then Dark Knight's like probably one of the best superhero movies of all time. And so when those two movies did really well, The Dark Knight was like one of the first movies to hit $1 billion in the box office. I remember that. It was like one of the first few since Titanic, obviously. And so that hit $1 billion. And then basically they're like, okay, we'll let you try and do something. Like you can do something unique. So we made Inception, right? And Inception's super out there. It's a very unique movie. Has a big budget. Yeah. Has a lot of famous people in it. Like super unique and interesting, but also like with that AAA big budget flair, right? Comes out, does amazing, does wonderful. Yeah, nobody cares that it's a super complicated movie. It makes a crap ton of money considering it's an IP that no one knows because it's brand new. It's not even it's not even like a series or anything. It's just a one-off movie, right? Does amazing, summer blockbuster, right? And so after that, they were like, okay, just make the final one of the Dark Knight Rises, like the final one of the trilogy, which you could clearly tell he like was not into it anymore. Like he didn't want to make those movies anymore. Watching the Dark Knight Rises. But once finishing Dark Knight Rises, just we'll give you money for any project you want now. Like you clearly have proven that people will watch your movies no matter what they are.
When did he make
Memento?
He made Memento in like 2001, 2002, something like that.
That was before the Batman movies,
But that's like a low budget movie.
He's like, but even then he's starting to establish his like story.
Have you seen Prestige?
Story structure and stuff like that. I've seen the Prestige. I actually like that.
Yeah, see, that's a good movie too. That came out in like 2005, 2006, something like that. Really good movie too. So I see these movies, they make a lot of money, and then they like prove to the industry like, oh, Christopher Nolan's a viable dude. Like he has these really unique stories that are very out there and super complicated, but clearly these are not, taken back by the audiences. Like they'll watch these movies, right? So he does that, and so they're like, okay, make whatever you want. Like, you have the reign to do whatever you want. Like, like whatever story, like, go ahead, man. Like, you can clearly do it. So Interstellar comes out. I think like a lot of people went to watch Interstellar when it came out. I'm pretty sure. I never got to. I wonder what it would have been like to watch it in IMAX though. That'd been so cool.
Yeah,
that'd been really cool. But
I bet there are places that still replay it occasionally. You could probably find a place that does.
I'm sure.
I'd be down.
The movie's great. I love that movie.
I've never watched it, dude. Movie. I've never watched it all the way through. I keep meaning to. It's on my list.
There are some flaws in it that need to be addressed, but it is a good movie. It's a good experience.
I think it's genuinely an entertaining movie by the end. I just,
Well, it's really cool, and then like with the whole science in it like makes sense, and he can explain it pretty well. I think the whole world building where they're on a dust version of Earth that is clearly lacking now. It's like kind of just like okay, maybe.
Which is also, by the way, for people who don't know, is a highly probable scenario for our future. Like that was based on science and what science predicts in the next 40, 50 years.
Vote Democrat.
And then like that the rendering or the CGI rendering of the black hole in the movie, that was like the first time they've ever he worked with astrophysicists and scientists to figure out what that would look like. That's the first time they found like what a black hole might look like. And then not only that, like, a couple years later, I don't think it's pixelated, but NASA managed to take a photo of a black hole, and it looks it's very dark, but like it kind of looks like that.
It resembles it to a certain degree. It's not the most recent one that people have seen with the like orange glow or whatever. But it's like it looks like that halo that they described, kind of this weird shape to it,
which I think is super cool. That's amazing. And so, and then after that, he does Dunkirk, which Dunkirk I'm sure was just his own telling of a story. And Dunkirk's really good. I don't know if you guys seen it yet.
I have not, and I've been meaning to. It's, again, on my list. There's so many.
I got a Blu-ray. I got a Blu-ray with Dunkirk. We can watch it together one day.
Can we watch it in IMAX?
There's IMAX scenes in it, but it fills up the screen.
Your mom's an IMAX scene.
That's such an interesting thing to do. Why didn't I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
because it's expensive. I assume.
I wonder if like subtly you realize like if there's also like a choice to that. Like he makes.
Well, I think with
specific decision.
With IMAX. So the problem is, one, IMAX cameras are a lot of money. So I assume also the film is a lot of money. So you're literally burning film if you just mess up a take. And I think it's a little bit different because with Marvel, the Avengers movies were in IMAX, but I think a lot of it was because of the CGI.
Yeah, you can just CGI it. You can just extend the video in post. You can pick a different like aspect.
Well, or just like CGI is like it's a lot less takes. Most of your work's in post anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
So if you just work in that, so it's not as big of a deal. But the IMAX shots, and the excuse back then when Dark Knight came out was because there was like 4 in existence or something, so he couldn't like just take one to use for the entire movie. So I don't know. But Dunkirk was amazing, and it's a unique story. But like I think that was like him coming to grips, like back to not reality, but just coming to like back to what people loved about him, like his spectacles and his story. We're kind of met in the middle, where I think a lot of people didn't like Interstellar because it was kind of too ambitious. And then Tenet, which brings us to now.
Talk about
what did you guys think about Tenet?
Talk about it.
Because
I thought it was really good.
Oh,
there were a few issues.
Do we need
with
do we need to put a spoiler warning? Are we going to get into spoilers?
Probably.
Light spoilers.
How about we do a short section of absolutely no spoilers and just say our thoughts and recommend it to people?
Okay.
I would recommend it to people.
Luke has flaws right now, so just let's have Luke say the flaws first. What he thinks of the flaws.
Writing for the most part, but not even for the majority of the movie. It's just a few specific.
What do you mean by writing? Like, what about writing you didn't like?
Like the dialogue.
Yeah. Really? I thought it was okay. I thought it was not bad.
No, it's for the most part it's pretty good, but it's just the just a few lines.
I think he might be. I think he might also be talking about because sometimes when you have these heavy science, like very complex themed movies,
are you talking about exposition? I don't think that's an issue.
Not exposition dumps,
I don't think that's
but just like when they try to explain the science, sometimes it almost comes off as cringy, like. I don't think it did in this movie, but a lot of times, somebody will just.
I don't think that's an issue in this movie. I'm just talking about like let me pull up some of it.
There's some cringy lines, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There's a scene. It's not really a spoiler. It's like a scientist explaining to him the idea of inverted bullets, meaning bullets that are going back in time. So like instead of him shooting the gun, the bullets actually go back into the gun.
Yeah. Let's go on a really basic level for people who don't know what the movie's about.
No, Daniel, you don't have to. No, Daniel, you don't have to explain that. Just explain. The idea is stuff goes backwards, stuff goes forwards.
Stuff goes backwards in time, stuff goes forwards in time, and that's the main idea.
Here's one of the scenes that I think was particularly bad, and this is a quote: "If he succeeds, it'll destroy every single living thing on Earth." End quote. And then the next piece of dialogue is, "including my son."
Yeah. Okay, I understand that.
That is
That's
little bit
bad
funny.
writing.
I just think the stakes. I like the idea. I think Christopher Nolan also has a problem with stakes about it. Like he makes the stakes like super big deal stakes. So, like when they kept on saying this is going to be the end of the world, we're on the cusp of World War III. Like stuff like that.
It's not tangible. It's not tangible to us.
It's just too much. It's kind of overrated. Like the idea like we're causing World War III. It's like, oh really now?
I think that's a writing tip. Like people talk about when you're writing, just book anything, any type of media. You're supposed to make the stakes something that's tangible. So saying like the end of the world is now too much of a trope to where it's like you need to be more focused. You need to say, oh, these people are going to die, or just making it something that's more, I don't know, impactful than World War Three. But I think he did an okay job with the stakes. I just think I do agree. Sometimes it is a little. It's a little silly when the entire thing is
ending,
we gotta save the world. Mm-hmm.
The ending, or like the airport scene, like the second airport scene was, I think, the best set piece of the movie. In my opinion.
We don't have to go into specifics about that, but
I'm not going to say anything other than that. But
overall, I think all the action sequences were very good. And I actually
action sequences are fantastic.
Yeah.
I think this might be my most favorite, like some of my most favorite action sequences, just because they're so unique. Right?
But Dunkirk had so many good ones as well, so I don't know.
I haven't seen
Dunkirk.
That's the other thing. I haven't seen Dunkirk, so I
think that was also a flaw about Interstellars, because there wasn't really any combat or anything. It's literally just
that's a good point. Yeah.
So
well, what about when Matt Damon shows up? What about when Matt Damon shows up?
That was the most infuriating scene.
I heard when people I heard when people saw Matt Damon, they were just like confused, like why is he in this movie? and then there's a fight sequence, and they're like, oh, yeah.
It was so annoying. Yeah, that was like one of the most infuriating scenes of Interstellar. I remember.
Why is it so infuriating? Just because you're like rooting for the main character, or
well, just like he's like his motivations. Like maybe it's because they wrote him super well, but I don't even
remember his motivations.
He just didn't like want them to leave the planet because he thought his planet was the one that should be where humanity is, even though it clearly is not the one that could sustain life as well. So he was just like, I can't let you leave. So he basically gets in a ship and like blows up their like little relay, whatever, to get out of it. It was really stupid, but
it basically sets the characters back quite a bit. But it's like, then they
it basically sets them back a huge bit, because Anne Hathaway now has to like go. This is a little bit spoilers. Interstellar, 6-year-old movie. She has to go to.
Go watch it.
She has to go to the planet on her own, and she can't come back to tell people about it. So and then like Matthew McConaughey is just like, yo, I'm going into this black hole. Let's see what happens. Like, we can only do one thing. We can't go back or anything.
This is the only option we have left to communicate. Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been an issue if Matt Damon was just normal. I just don't understand it. It's super annoying.
If Matt Damon was just normal. I like how nobody what is his name in the movie? It's not Matt Damon.
I don't know any of their names.
I guarantee.
Matthew
I feel like that's the
McConaughey,
other
Matt
issue.
Damon,
the other issue with his
daughter.
movies is you rarely learn anyone's name.
I know
And
Neil.
that's not an issue with his movies. That's an issue with any movie where it's like sometimes you just learn them as that's the blonde chick. And
that might also just be us.
It was also years ago.
Yeah, I'm also really bad at focusing, so it could just be me and my horrible focus.
Well, I mean, Sater. That's all I know.
I do know Sater. That's the only one.
Well, in Tenet they did that on
Neil.
purpose, didn't they? They purposely didn't
Neil,
give the main character's
The
name.
main
I forgot what
character's
the
just the
chick's name was.
protagonist.
Yeah, he's just
I think
the
it was-
protagonist. I don't know what the girl's name was, but
I don't remember either. So I think of something with a K, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like bad for not knowing.
I know her name.
I think the
or I know
movie
her
was
last
good.
name.
I
It's
think
like
I want to say this again. No spoilers here. I think it's a little convoluted. I know he enjoys like the time travel and stuff, but like the amount
It
of
means
like
needlessly
if you
confusing.
try, it's one of those movies where if you try to think about it, it just makes it more confusing. Like you're almost supposed to watch it.
I don't have that issue. Or I don't think.
Oh, her name was
No,
just
the more-
Kat, by the way.
No,
Oh,
Cat.
yeah, but
So
I
it
was just
wasn't
saying.
K.
I was just saying. The more I think
wait,
about this movie, the more confusing
that's.
I get.
Oh wait, yeah, that is her name. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I think that. See, I don't know if y'all have looked at anything about it online.
No.
A lot of people are complaining about the sound mixing. Did y'all have an issue
What?
some of the sound mixing was too loud? It would cover up dialogue and stuff.
Well, I don't know because
No.
Luke
Like
put it
the-
on the
the
lowest
score.
possible
Yeah, Luke
volume.
kept putting
first
because he
enjoying it.
didn't want his
Shut up.
parents to get angry at us for having the volume up loud.
It
But
wasn't that low.
look, here's
You
the
couldn't
thing.
hear like the bass of the music.
the bass.
Like that's the whole point. It's like
The
it's
bass
supposed
is
to cause
extremely
tension.
loud, but I thought it made the movie better. I genuinely
makes it
was
more
entertained
intense.
because the bass isn't just some like obnoxious. Bah, bah. You know how like it's become like tradition to do that in every movie since Inception, where it's like, oh yeah, the bass.
Which is
sounds
another
cool.
Christopher Nolan film.
Which is another.
Yeah.
So he basically established that kind of trend for the most part.
Hans
But
Zimmer
like,
did, but
his
Hans Zimmer
music's
didn't make
good.
this movie.
There's so many good moments of music in that. Where
Hans
it's not
Zimmer
just,
didn't
like,
make
some
this
weird-
movie. He didn't make this. It was
Oh, he did.
Ludwig
Did he not?
Göransson. the
Sure,
dude
but
who
the
did
guy-
Christopher
The
Nolan
Mandalorian.
didn't he like? I
That
guess
too.
maybe he didn't have any play in the music, but I just thought he his movie was the first one to kind of establish that trend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In
Interstellar
Hollywood.
was.
Interstellar.
I think a lot of-
Inception.
Inception.
Inception, yeah.
Actually, it was actually Tenet that started it, and it went back in time.
Again, I think
Yeah, I went back in time.
if somebody explained it to me in great detail about how the plot actually went from beginning to end in like actual linear fashion, like from just a third person perspective, where
See,
you're
I
not
think that's
following
your
you
issue.
should
somebody.
find that online.
think
I'm
that's
sure
your
I could find it
issue.
online, but the issue is
Time
you're not
is
supposed to
not
watch
linear.
it like that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to
I
think
know,
of it as
but the
being
thing
linear.
is,
You're not
you
supposed to-
could
yeah.
explain it from a distant perspective, where it's like, okay, from the beginning, here's what happens. So this is what's happening in this time, and then blah 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 blah, and then at this time, there's 3 timelines, and blah 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 blah, and you could explain it like that. I'm just
You know-
saying, if you think
gonna
about it too
interject,
much, it's
Daniel.
too hard. Yeah.
I'm going to interject.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think of all things, Watchmen actually explains this pretty well, right, Luke? Luke's seen Watchmen. Daniel has not. Another show Daniel
depends.
should watch.
I don't know what you're going to talk about.
Is it Dr. Manhattan? Is that his name? Or the dude, the blue dude?
Yeah.
Doc-
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, so he's like, he knows, like, he sees time non-linearly, like, at all
Right.
points. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting. At one of the points in one of the scenes in the show, he's like talking to a woman, trying to impress her. She's like the main character of the show. So he's trying to impress her, and he's like, you know, so we're on a date right now. He's like, we are. He's like, oh no, to you, not right now, but I guess to you in time it will be in like in 2 days from now. But I see we're in a date. He's like, oh, that's interesting because I don't think I'm gonna go on a date with you. It's like, oh, but you know, I'm not done with my whole spiel yet. And she's like, okay, that's interesting. We'll see. And then he's like, now we're arguing about something. He's like, we're arguing. He's like, yes, you know, we're arguing about my life and things like that. She's like, what? It's like, no, this is like months in advance. He's like, oh, okay. And then he's basically saying stuff that's happening in real time to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't see time linearly, but he's like explaining it to
Right.
her. And so by the end of it, he's like, so will you go on a date with me? Because she's like, the whole thing rides upon, she's like, but I haven't agreed on a date with you yet. He's like,
Yeah.
he keeps talking. And then by the end of it, she's like, will you go on a date with me? And she's like, you know what? Heck yeah, why not? And that's the end of the episode. I think that was a really cool way of
Yeah.
explaining it. That was.
I think it was too. Watchmen did that really well.
You should watch
I think
Watchmen,
Tenet
Daniel.
did too.
It's really
Mhm.
good. I don't think
I've
Tenet
also
did
Tell
heard
him
that
that he'll
well.
never watch it.
I've also heard
He'll
it.
never watch
It's really good at bringing attention to the Tulsa riots. So
Meaning
Well,
any
by
attention
really
whatsoever.
good- Yeah,
Yes,
I was gonna
exactly.
say by bringing attention
no
to
one
by,
knew
by
about it
being
until
really good
that-
about it. Yeah,
until the TV show brought it up, that's so depressing.
Mhm. Which is a little fricked up. Daniel, you should teach
History
your
class
children
is
about it.
whitewashed.
You should
Yeah.
teach your children about it, Daniel. When you become a teacher.
A math teacher. All right, today's math lesson is about the Tulsa
Yeah.
riots.
Don't see
Yeah,
why
in
not.
high school.
Don't see why not.
In high school. Today we're learning about derivatives and the Tulsa race riots. So as you can see, derivatives are basically trying to find slopes in equations, and the Tulsa race riot was the reason. It's not even a race riot; it's a massacre. Don't say that. It's not a race riot.
It's a race
The Tulsa-
massacre.
Yeah, you're right.
A race
Yeah, it is.
massacre.
Yeah,
A
I think
Tulsa
they-
massacre.
You're right. They label it riots, but it really isn't. It's like
it's just
a
a
massacre.
massacre. Yeah,
It's because like one dude or one African American dude like they
Was
kind of
accused
leaned
of
on a
stealing
girl.
something?
Or no, or did he like lean
Oh,
on a
yeah.
girl on accident because he
No,
fell?
you're right. Yeah.
That was a white woman, and she was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my god!" And then it basically became like didn't she like accuse him of like assault?
and
or
then they
something? I don't know.
destroyed basically the
No. She fell on him. She fell on him, or he fell on her, and then she like yelped, and then some white guys overheard and like called the police because they thought that he was raping her, or they said that he was raping her.
Mm-hmm.
But then the police obviously overreacted, and everything happened.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
I would like to
This
point
is
out,
insane.
I believe the ending of this story ends with them destroying one of the wealth centers for African American people in our nation, like one
Yeah.
of the
in Oklahoma.
growing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just
No,
it's
in the
depressing.
entire country, right?
In the entire
Yeah, no,
country,
it was
but
in Oklahoma, is what I'm saying.
Yes, it was
Oh, yeah.
in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's depressing. It's something,
That's
and
the-
it's like
that's the-
most people didn't hear about it until this TV show came
That's
out.
the last time you're ever going to hear wealthy in Oklahoma in the same sentence.
I guess. Yeah.
Oh my god, he's
Dang.
not wrong.
Dang, taking jabs at Oklahoma, a whole state.
Great, now we
It's
just lost
okay,
all
it's
of our
okay.
audience from Oklahoma.
No, listen, it's okay because I've been to Oklahoma.
Oh,
Yeah. Oklahoma.
I lived there for a week. I lived there for a week. It's okay.
So you went on vacation there. You didn't live there for a week. What are you talking
He
about?
lives. Luke thinks anywhere he is, like at any given moment, he's living there. Oh yeah, I live at school for 8 hours a day.
No, listen. I just see time linearly. So
Oh,
when I
I
go to
see.
Oklahoma,
I
so
wonder
when
if,
go to-
dude, do you think Christopher Nolan walks down the street thinking about how time could be non-linear? He's like, maybe he's like walking down the street to get a coffee, and he's like, maybe my future self is already drinking this coffee and actually likes it. So he tells my past self to go get this coffee, and that's what he thinks about every living moment of his day, just like how
See-
time could be non-linear.
So so he's Christopher Nolan. I'm looking at the Wikipedia. It says he conceived this idea over the course of 20 years, and he began working on the script in 2014. So a little bit after Interstellar, from what I assume. So, and he wanted to make it like a spy genre thing, but he didn't want to copy any actual movies of the spy genre. So he said he was basing it off his memory of what a spy genre was, which is an interesting way to avoid.
Which I think he did a
That is
good
cool.
job of, actually.
yeah.
Looking back, I mean, it did have some like James Bond elements, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm
I think
excited to
people
see
who
what the
like
next movie
action
is.
films, who like just blockbuster movies, I think you'll enjoy it. My one thing would be just don't think about the time travel too hard, because it's just gonna get too confusing. Don't try to like have all the answers. You're not gonna have all the answers on the first, and probably not the third
Yeah.
or the 10th watch through. It's just
Yeah, because I watched it my second time with them, and I was just as confused. But it didn't help. I was just like, oh, it's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably watch
But
like YouTube essays about it,
But
like
it's
YouTube video
fascinating.
essays.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm ready to watch. I'm waiting for the like YouTube essayists to come out and be like, "Here's something you didn't know about it. This is actually all an allegory for this." And then they go
Yeah, like
through these-
Wisecrack. Probably
Yeah.
Wisecrack would be a good one. They do pretty good ones.
I also
about
like
that.
lessons from the screenplay.
They do good ones about that, but they only do like the screenplay itself,
Yeah, I know.
which is still
Which is a
good,
little
but like
sad.
it's
Yeah.
not about the plot.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be interesting. Imagine Nerdwriter talking about this. He'd be like, he actually did a video about the
I
introduction
love
or the
Knight Rider.
he did a video said the invention of time travel, like when it was first conceived in literature, and so he
The Time
basically
Machine by H.G. Wells.
no, actually he said no. He's like talking about over
Probably
time. So he
earlier.
says it had to have begun when a person first thought about regret, like regretting something from the past. So clearly it has to begin with that, because how can you think to time travel if you have no regrets or anything about the past?
That's
Right.
true.
Thinking about the past itself.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting video. It's a really cool video.
Nerd Rider
Yeah,
has
overall-
a really cool analysis of like a lot of different genres. Like he covers like just paintings, and then he covers poems, and then he covers like people. Like I think he did one on, oh I can't even remember, but it's like
Lauryn
it's crazy.
Hill
And then he
was a
does,
good one.
Baba.
I don't know about that. And then he does like
Yeah, that's pretty
films, and he does he does just all
I
sorts.
haven't
of
watched
things.
much of his stuff.
But I
He's
don't
gotten
think
a
he
little
posts that
too
regularly.
not anymore. He's gotten a little too pretentious for my taste. No, I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
he
that's
himself.
fine.
I think the people who watch him now feel pretentious because he talks
Because they're
about
like,
paintings.
I understand this to so much of a degree.
Yeah, and it's just
yeah.
like some of his stuff is just like, I'm like, okay, dude, like you're just like kind of just like, we get it, you're smart, or like, you know, you're like literarily, if that's a word, you're literarily much more inept than us. You know, it's just like
Inept. Isn't that the-
adept.
Yeah, I was gonna say inept
there you
means
go.
bad.
Yeah, literarily more adept than all of us. Like, congrats, dude. I don't
Or
know,
maybe
but
not
the
even
pro-
that. Maybe he learned it from something and he just wants to share that. Like, I don't know if it's actually his analysis of it.
No, it's
Right.
definitely not his analysis. I assume, or I assume it's like it's a guided
Partially.
analysis.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't seen a lot of his videos in a while. I remember I used to just binge watch his stuff. But you know whose essays are great? Video Game Donkeys, about his video game essays. They're so wonderful. Video Game Donkey's so
he
fun.
brings a new tone to, like, just video essays in general. Because a lot of them are either extremely serious or, like, game theory where it's like, okay, you're obviously just watching this because it's entertaining. There's, like, sure, there might be, like, science and stuff to it, but it's not, like, whatever. And then he brings this element of, like, just kind of, like, giving an honest review while also making it entertaining, while also criticizing the review genre on YouTube through satire. It's just, like, I don't know. It's just, it's entertaining thoroughly.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
I really just ended the conversation
So-
there. God.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
I was just
So-
looking at Nerd Writer's Patreon. I have this thing where I get interested in Patreons now of people because I'm like wondering like how much money is it truly that they need to make YouTube a viable career for them. And
Right.
I mean, it says he makes $3,000 per video, but he only releases like once or two months, 1 to 2 months. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's taken a
So-
while for him. He used to upload weekly, so it's like kind of sad
Mhm.
now that he doesn't upload as often.
Luke,
But
stop
I get it.
peeling skin off your toes. Oh my
Daniel,
god.
Sorry, I
What's
do
worse-
that when I'm bored.
What's worse than him doing it is you saying that he's doing it so that the audience now understands
People-
the pain
yeah.
that we
Well,
feel.
I was just trying to do a callback joke to earlier in the podcast when Luke brought it up for no reason.
Oh yeah, that's
So you don't want to suck on. You don't want to suck on my toes.
No, enough. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
Enough.
this bit should have died with the podcast.
'Cause that's the first
By the way,
time
the
I said it.
podcast is dying. In case you guys didn't know, the podcast is dying.
Hey,
Um,
so am I.
I think we talked about Tenet
Let's
enough.
move into this.
You
Let's
can't
segue to
kill
this.
anything
I have
that's already dead,
tuberculosis.
baby. Go ahead, Luke.
This segue to this. I have tuberculosis, and this is the first time I'm telling you guys. The first time I'm telling anybody except for my doctor. I was talking about tuberculosis.
Comedy
That was a
5.
joke.
Just from that
That
one
was
joke.
a joke.
Comedy
Comedy
5,
5.
us 0, just from that one
Yeah.
joke.
And it may or may not be because I forgot to count this time around.
Yeah, we
so-
weren't counting this time.
We also
And
haven't
also,
made
that's a
many jokes this
callback to the
podcast.
that's the callback to the episode 10. If you guys want to watch.
We're like Community.
We also-
You have to watch the past episodes to get the
Neighbor,
next
why
episodes.
don't you talk
not even-
about
really true.
something
How
you
about 2021?
ate? No, we're
Something
not doing
we
that,
ate?
Luke. Neighbor, you
He's
ate
talking
something
about the Mr.
recently.
Beast burger. He's talking about the Mr. Beast burger.
Were you talking it multiple times at once? One at a time, please.
We weren't talking multiple times at once.
I think you were
No,
hearing
Daniel was
us
talking-
multiple times, but we weren't talking.
No,
at the
Daniel
same
was talking over, or you were talking over Daniel, or vice versa. I don't know. Both of you
Not
were talking
really.
over each other because I can tell. Daniel, what did you want to ask me again?
Luke literally said it. I
I
said
just
you
told
ate
you.
something recently, and then Luke said, "Yeah."
Oh,
he's
I thought he was talking about
the Mr. Beast
2021
burger.
again.
Well,
He
he
was
said
talking
that
about
at the
2021
beginning,
again.
but he quickly.
that was like a whole minute ago.
Dang.
That was a whole minute ago, which in the grand scheme
Nothing-
of our podcast is like 1/60th of the podcast.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of the last 2 minutes,
No,
which is
no, no,
what
no,
we're
no,
referring to, is
Let's
half
not
the time.
digress. This is how we digress, folks. Let's stop. Let's stop.
Hey, our
Right.
podcast. We really should just be called the.
The Ramblers. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
the
talk
I
and
don't
talk
know.
and talk and talk. Dude. Yeah, so nothing like leaving it to Luke to spoil the next topic. So yeah, my brother surprised me. It wasn't like he like gave me a gift or anything. It was just like for some reason he had a fascination that Mr. Beast. Like I didn't even know he knew who Mr. Beast was, but he like was like, "Oh, who's this this Mr. Beast dude?" Apparently he's making his own burger chain. Like he made 300 locations across the US. Like wow. And apparently one of them is like fortunately like deliverable to us. So that was cool. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. So he Uber Eated it and he got me like it's basically a double cheeseburger, 2 patties, cheese, buns, nothing special. And then he got like loaded nachos or something. I don't know what they're called. They're named after his friends, but I literally don't care because I don't know who these
Yeah.
friends are. And
Oh,
he got a
sorry.
burger as well. Started eating the burger. I was like, "That's alright, man. It's not that great." It just tasted like a better version of the cheeseburgers that used to be served in the cafeteria of our elementary school.
Our school cafeteria. Yeah.
In elementary school. So, I mean,
No, I'm just curious. Did you salt the burger?
what does that mean? What?
Did you put salt on it?
Yeah. So actually, what I did was unlike most people, I have a entire jar filled with salt. It's a ginormous jar. It's like a fish tank sized jar.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put every one of my meals inside of them. Just dig them up, or like
He
I
just
bury them
dips
like
it in.
treasure.
First he dips it in butter, and then
Yes.
honey, and then he dips it in there so you get all of the salt.
So it's like
stuck.
deep frying.
Yeah,
It's
except I don't
deep
deep fry it.
frying?
I just eat it after that.
Except it's just the salt.
Yeah.
And
So
honey and the honey.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I like salt a lot. So yeah, thank you, Luke, for asking, because this would have been a really crucial detail that we would have left out, and the The true
Yeah,
people who are
you know
aspiring
what,
to
Luke?
get these.
The issue is without the salt, the burger just wouldn't have tasted the same, right? So we needed to establish
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm saying. It
to
wouldn't have
get the
tasted- it
proper
wouldn't have tasted
opinion
as
on the
good.
burger. Yeah.
Wouldn't have tasted as good.
Also,
wouldn't have.
I was eating it while I was on the toilet, and I dropped it in the toilet halfway through, and then finished eating it afterwards. And I picked it
Ooh, I
up.
bet
So
that
that
was
might have
You
been the
grabbed
issue.
it out.
Yeah.
No, he
Thank you,
actually-
Luke.
He actually caught it with the toilet paper.
Oh, and another thing.
No one's
Actually,
gonna
I
get
didn't
that
even.
reference.
Another thing. Actually, I didn't even have the
Mhm.
sandwich. It was just
Oh.
a figment of my imagination, and you guys are
Oh,
not
right.
real
You didn't actually eat
because
it.
I am
He's actually
going
just
through
thinking
PTSD.
about eating it.
In fact,
Yes.
what actually had happened was the burger was reverse entropied out of him.
Stop. Oh my god. Once you bring in tenant terms, it's over, dude.
Dude.
Oh my god.
And then no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put Tenet across the screen, and then I'm just gonna roll credits.
Tenet.
That's the end of the podcast right there. Tenet roll credits. Oh my god.
Tenet. Okay. So yeah, that
it
was the Mr.
okay.
Beast burger.
It was okay.
It was okay. Not worth the price though. $8 for a burger, bro. Like I could get like 2 or 3, like probably 2 burgers, like small burgers from In-N-Out. You know, arguably way better.
$8? You could get a ton of burgers from McDonald's, and they probably taste better.
Probably
Yeah.
and cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like for $8
Much
worth.
cheaper,
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
$8 for a burger is just not. I had Five Guys not too long ago. Five Guys is probably my favorite burger now. I think
Really?
Yeah.
for the price,
I
probably
like
In-N-Out.
Steak
In-N-Out's
and
probably a
Shake
better.
lot. I like Steak and Shake.
Oh
a lot.
really? I don't know. I think for the
Or
value.
Shake Shack, honestly.
No, Shake Shack is such a ripoff, dude.
Of
it's
course,
like
it's a
$10 for a
ripoff,
burger.
dude. It's also, you know what? It's like, I don't know what it is about like those like gourmet. I don't know if you really call it a gourmet burger, but like Grub, like I love those burgers, dude. Where they're
It's a little
huge. It's
overrated.
like a meal. Your burger is like a meal, but it's
You-
not one of those like fast food
Bro,
burgers. It's like
I'm
one
sure you could
go
get the
and
same
sit
thing.
and-
You could get the same thing from Chili's for like half the price. I'm sure. It's like not nearly worth it. I don't think. In my
Sure,
opinion,
it's all about the experience.
it's just. I mean, Grub's okay. They have some. The macaroni and cheeseburger's not bad. It's just macaroni and cheese, and then
Mhm.
they have loaded fries that are pretty good. But I don't know. I think Five Guys. Sure,
I
it
don't
was
know. I'm not a burger
$11.
snob. I like a lot of burgers. I'm just gonna be honest.
It was $11 for the burger, but the burger was pretty big and it had 2 patties in it.
Mhm.
And you get to choose the toppings you have. So, and they have a wide variety of toppings you can choose at Five Guys. So, it's pretty good.
Not every place has Five Guys though, right? Isn't it like somewhat rare?
No, I think it's a lot of places.
I think a
Five
lot
Guys.
around the U.S. I don't know that people overseas have it. Potentially,
It's-
maybe I don't know.
obviously.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think people
Well,
overseas
no,
are
but
eating
think
the
about
Mr.
this.
Beast
Like,
burger
I think
either.
McDonald's is like a global thing, right? And like even
Yeah, but they don't have the same menu globally though. You do realize
Yeah,
that,
sure.
right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Apparently, India's is like way better than ours. Like their Five Guys, like or not Five Guys, they're McDonald's. They have like
Mhm.
veggie, like they have veggie burgers that are like good. They might have chicken burgers from what I remember. I don't know, but it just sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like wow, that is. I wish.
And then you
America-
get there and it's like, it's just like any old regular McDonald's, but they just sell different food.
I remember my dad or my brother went. He spent like a summer or something, interning or doing like a fellowship or something in Africa. Was it Kenya? Something like that. And he basically they opened a KFC, like there, and he said the line was ginormous. It was literally like a mile long or something. And people were just waiting
Mhm.
outside for KFC there, because that was like the first time like a true fast food joint came.
Right.
So I thought that was very fascinating. Because like yeah, that is a big demand for it. Yeah.
Do you guys like Popeyes better?
The chicken
I've
sandwich,
never been.
low key. Low key, I
I've
like the
never
chicken
been.
sandwich more.
I gotta be honest, I've never been, and I was asking because I was like, I've only had KFCs, and it's
I haven't
it's
even-
fine.
I've
It's
never-
good.
I've
I like it
never
every
had-
once in a while, but
Not,
Never had
not
KFC
Chick-fil-A?
before either.
Not Chick-fil-A.
I mean Chick-fil-A
KFC's
is
overrated.
Chick-fil-A is overrated, dude.
KFC is
Chick-fil-A
overrated.
Oh, I was like, I thought you said Chick-fil-A was overrated. I'm like, what?
Well,
what are you
Chick-fil-A
talking about?
also hates the gays, so I don't know. So I eat it.
So
Sadly,
yeah, that one is a
but I
little
still eat it.
questionable. Okay, I'll give you that. That one's questionable. I'll give you that.
I still eat it, sadly, but I eat it. So
I eat it, but the entire time I'm thinking, God, I love the gays. I'm so sorry. I feel so
What
bad
are-
for them.
dude, like those owners, because it's a very traditional family that owns the company, right? Like that's the reason why they're closed on Sundays, stuff like that. Like clearly the corporation does not want to be closed on Sundays, because that's a whole other day of revenue they could be making. Like,
See, I've been thinking
I don't know.
about that, but I wonder if they would just split their customer base over those days. Because think about the people who go like, maybe like once a week, right?
imagine if that happened though, and then you have like these Christian evangelists like protesting this stuff. Like, oh my God, like
They're ruining.
this is the day of God.
They're taking away Christmas and now Chick-fil-A. What are we gonna do?
The war on Chick-fil-A.
The war on Chick-fil-A. Dude,
I don't know, Chick-fil-A is just, I don't know if it's overrated, but it's just like, it's good, but it's like the value is not as great as people, I think it is.
It's really good, but it also kind of costs a decent amount,
Like, I think the value of what you could be getting for similar prices, again, In-N-Out is like way better compared to Chick-fil-A. Yeah. Chick-fil-A has a variety in their
You
menu.
can get stuff for cheaper that tastes almost as good, or just as good, depending on what mood you're in.
Dude, Popeye's chicken sandwich is
I haven't
pretty
had
good.
it.
I'm gonna
I've
be
heard
honest.
it's good though.
Bro,
And
we
then
should
they
just
had like
go-
that whole like where people ran out of Popeye.
Okay, that's not happening anymore.
I know it's
You
not
know-
happening
you know-
anymore.
You know the funny thing? They've always had that chicken sandwich. That was never a new thing that they did. I think for some reason something happened.
It's
where
like
there's a
IHOP.
word of mouth.
When they just suddenly made burgers their big thing because they wanted more revenue. Which,
Somebody
by the way,
said
I think
that.
is
Like,
a genius marketing tactic.
yeah, but it didn't work because nobody. Did you go to get a burger at IHOP?
No.
But you
Exactly.
thought about
I'm just
IHOP.
saying it brought a lot of attention though, so people were talking about.
Dude, I have the worst experience about a IHOP now.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like IHOP a lot. 'cause
Well, hey,
it's a good-
don't say it because what if they want to sponsor us in the future?
Maybe this will
All right,
make
go
them
ahead, Ed.
better themselves. So
Mhm.
I remember it had like snowed or something, light snow. It was like basically ice is what happens where we live, and so this was like early this year. So it was like January, and my friends and I, different group of friends, because I can't be seen with these two in public. Because
Mhm.
you've heard Luke.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Likewise.
No, I'm just playing. But yeah, it was with a different group of friends. And one was like, oh, let's just go to IHOP to get like lunch/breakfast or whatever. Because it was relatively early. It was like 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, sounds good. Go in immediately. There's a strong stench. Not great. I'm like,
Did we talk about this before? I feel like we've talked about.
I might have
this.
explained this to you. I have no clue. But
Okay.
I was like,
Mhm.
okay, strong stench. I was like, okay. And we sign our reservation. We sit down. Super crowded. Pre-corona. This is January, mind you, at least in America. And then, we're just waiting. It's a little busy. And then the stench just suddenly gets stronger, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like there's like at first you could tell people were noticing it. They were noticing it, but like they weren't saying
You have
anything
the
because they're like
thing
maybe
where
it'll go
people
away.
start looking around, like you
Yeah.
Can see.
Yeah, slowly, and then suddenly it gets stronger, and people are still doing the same thing, noticing it, looking around, and then you see people coming in, and then like they're suddenly becoming less because it's getting so bad that people are becoming less and less patient with it, and it's
Mhm.
some like an old lady comes in, and then she's like oh no, and she walks out, and then like
Mhm.
her like daughter, I assume, like like daughter old enough to be mother, so probably a grandmother age, and then mother
Yeah.
age. She
Yes.
has like a baby in her arm or something. She's
Mhm.
like or she's like saying to like her husband or someone's like what do you call it, mama doesn't want to be in here because it smells really bad, like she says it just straight up.
Right.
then-
Somebody's the first to acknowledge it.
She just goes out, and then
And
like
that's the
everyone's like
spark.
everyone's like oh my god, and then like suddenly it gets so bad it smells like barf, like literal barf, terrible. It's like oh my god, because apparently what happened was the smell was getting bad that a kid actually threw up, so therefore it added even more smell to it. So a kid threw up, and then that was like the last straw. So like people were just like canceling their reservation, like all right, we're out of here.
It's the episode of The Office where one person throws up and then everyone throws up.
yeah, basically. And then
Like what episode
then-
is that? Just
is
Out of
that the office? I don't know.
That's The Office. I
it
can't
is
remember.
The Office. It doesn't matter. Anyways,
But yeah, and
it's
everybody
filled
just
with
leaves.
perfume.
Or everybody just starts leaving in
Yeah.
droves. I could tell this lady at the desk, because she has to deal with it. She's working,
Mhm.
like she has to deal with this for a while, and she basically somebody comes in, like one of the workers comes in with like Lysol or something, just sprays everywhere, doesn't clear it up at all, and like I think a pipe had burst or something, maybe something like that, and then.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, could you like cancel our reservation? We're just gonna go elsewhere, somewhere else. She's like,
Mhm.
are you guys sure? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, because I had to be the one man enough to say it, because everybody else was like, no, you say, I don't want to say, you say.
Mhm.
So fine, I'll just say it. And so that was the last time I went to an IHOP. I don't know. if I go to that same IHOP, I feel like I'm gonna get the PTSD again. Just like,
Flashbacks.
scared.
Yeah.
Because IHOP is genuinely good. I like
Mhm.
IHOP, but I don't know.
I like breakfast in general. I wanted to wrap up the podcast with something, if you're okay with that.
We still have 30 minutes, bro.
Oh,
25-ish.
well, are we really going the full time? Because I have to
Yes.
edit, and I don't
Yes.
think we need to
Also,
go.
speaking of The Office, it's like 20 minutes extra. Chill out. Speaking of The Office, though, because of the barfing
I
and
don't
all
know.
that. Also, Luke is on his phone. Let that be known. That he's
Yeah,
not
I was
fully
gonna
in
say
here.
I don't know if I can do another hour. I'm exhausted.
We're not
Hour,
doing
it's a
another
half
hour.
hour.
Half hour. I can do another
Okay,
half hour.
25
for
minutes.
sure.
About to be
If I
24
can't do another
minutes.
hour, how do you expect me to do a half hour?
Yeah, that logic, man. It's math. So, Kevin Malone, because we talked about the Office barping. The actor who plays Kevin Malone, I think his name is Brian Baumgartner. He made $1 million from Cameo this year.
What is Cameo for people who don't know? Being Luke.
So
'cause
basically-
he's so stupid. He's such a stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So we have celebrities, it's basically an app / website where you can pay to have noteworthy people / celebrities say a message for you that you want, and the price ranges. So I think like Kim Kardashian's on there, and it's like 30,000 or something. I don't know. But some of the celebrities, it's like when you judge, you're like, what? Like Ja Rule is like $5,000. Well, no, like I'm not paying $5,000.
It's like you could pay people to say happy birthday to a friend or to yourself or to
Yeah.
or
Just
they
a
can like wish you
message
happy
that you're
anniversary
supposed to
or
say.
whatever you want them to say. I mean, obviously they won't say something they don't want to say, but normally you just ask for something like that.
So I'm looking at it right now. Drew Brees is $550. That's a lot,
Hmm.
but I mean it's Drew Brees. Melvin Gordon of the Denver Broncos, $200. That's too much, bro. You're like a B-list NFL player.
Oh my
Oh.
god, dude. Well, we just lost him as a viewer. Why is everything we do alienating our viewers? I feel like that
know,
should be our
right?
podcast.
Brian
Alienate-
Baumgartner. Pretty sure that's his name. Brian Baumgartner. Okay, he's an actor from The Office. How much does he charge? $195. So not terrible. But dang, he's made $1 million from that this year. So clearly he's been doing it a lot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope.
But I mean,
I don't
people
know.
keep paying for it. So I mean, I don't know. Is it bad? Is it really that bad? Probably, but I don't know, man. It's just-
$200 is a lot of money, but hey, that's a good steal for Office star. Cameos for charity. This dude's 30. Okay, so, and then there's people that are like too low. It's like, oh, are they doing good? Like what financially?
Mhm.
Like why is it so low? You know what I mean?
Here's my question though. You know, for the people who have it high, maybe it's high to like discourage people from doing it because they have other things to do. They can't constantly just be doing cameos. You know what I mean?
Troy Aikman, $750. Oh my god, and he hasn't been in the NFL for almost 30 years. And then Lupe Fiasco is $100. Like that's nothing compared to that. I'm trying to see if there's any
Ew.
famous people we know.
What the heck? I just pulled out a pencil from my thing and a bunch of dust came with it. Nasty.
The Willy Wonka TikTok dude is $75. So
You're
guys,
joking.
if you want to know, if
Guys,
you want
we
to know what I
could
want
do
for my
this.
birthday,
We could do this.
yeah,
We
charge
could
like
get on
$3.
Cameo. We could get on
Nobody knows
Cameo.
us.
People could get us to say stuff.
Recommended. Let's look at recommended.
I know what we do. Okay, guys, here's my business proposition. You guys are the sharks, okay? I need you guys to listen very carefully. The three of us build a corporation. Unnecessary what the name is. Point is, doesn't even need a location. We can do it from our bedrooms. We get on Cameo and we market ourselves on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, but mostly TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube as people who will break up with people for other people. So like if you
A
and your
breakup service?
if you're trying to break up with your boyfriend, or if you're trying to tell him something like low key where it's like, I just wish you would start doing this thing, or if you're trying to, so it's not necessarily just breaking up, but basically we do that for people. And then people, we'll call ourselves the Confrontation Boys, and we will do the confrontation for people. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, what better?
And we
than
will
to,
make millions like Kevin Malone.
So what
Yeah,
I'm
from
understanding
the
from this is that we break up with people for people.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah,
confront
what if-
anyone for any reason. whatsoever.
Yeah, what better?
It'll mostly be Breaking
Oh my
Up, though.
god, and
You know
this
that,
just
right?
became the perfect plot for a horror movie where we get wrapped up in some murder scheme, and then the entire hour we're escaping these people that are trying to kill us. Okay, I just made a block budget movie. Christopher Nolan hired me.
Block budget.
Tenet 2.0.
Block budget. Yeah, because what better than to solve personal problems than to include celebrities? Yeah, it's just like
Well, we're not celebrities. That's why we're doing it, because we're just
you get
everyday
Lindsay
people.
Lohan. You get Lindsay Lohan to say that you want to do a kink with your significant other.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
like, hey, I heard blah 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 really likes getting dirty in the bedroom. And it's like some
$200,
celebrity that you really like. It's like, God, now I hate this celebrity.
It's weird. Luke, you know the former like roommate of Cody Ko was like one of the founders of this Cameo. Isn't that crazy? What a small world.
Hey,
So
you
weird
know,
to me.
Cody Ko is also a programmer. He made that one app that was quite frictionless.
Thank you, Daniel. Well, he's an old man.
I don't even know what he made. I
I
forgot.
wonder if Cody Ko is on here. Is Cody Ko on here? I don't even know. Oh yeah, he is on here. How much is he? You can book a Zoom? What? That's so weird.
All right, that's it. We're booking a Zoom with him so he could be on our podcast.
That's so sad. Imagine being so rich you just pay celebrities to talk to you by the minute with Cameo.
How
It's like that breaking-
How much does it cost?
I don't know. It doesn't say how much it is. It just says notify me when he's ready to do some. So I guess that's a cool feature. You can just be like, because you don't have to guarantee that you'll be doing cameos all the time. You can be like, I'm gonna step off cameos for this month. I'm gonna take a break because it's whatever.
Or
I
if
feel like
like
it's so-
if I bet like people could ask like, oh, what is this Zoom call for? You know, is it just for somebody to like, you know, if it's like somebody asking for him to be in a YouTube video, he'll probably say no, right? But if it's like somebody asking like, hey, do you want to join our class while we learn about blah blah blah, and it's actually just like a joke or whatever, you know, it's like I don't know. You get to
Yeah.
decide what you want to do and what you don't want to do, which is nice.
Yeah. Also, fun fact. This is about Tenet, real quick. Daniel also has a topic at the end he wants to get to. So Tenet needed $400 million to break even. It had a $200 million budget, but they estimated with everything that it needed a $400 million box office to break even. How much money do you think it made, Daniel?
401 million. No, I bet like right now though it's like Corona, so I'm a little worried. Can you just at least let me know if it broke even?
No, I can't say that. That's the whole point. It's suspense. Luke, would you like to guess?
The suspense.
$50.
Maybe-
Okay, well, he might be closer than me, so I'm going to here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what the Price is Right thing is, where I'm just going to guess $51, and I'm automatically going to be right if it's anything above 50.
So Daniel was
52.
actually closer with his first guess than he was with his second guess.
401
Theoretically.
million?
No, it made $362.6 million. So
So
barely.
it's close. I feel like it will
close.
eventually get there. It's just it's COVID right now. What are you going to I'm not going to go watch it in movies, and most people aren't going to go buy it.
I still don't understand why they only released it in theaters. It's so stupid. And it's so pretentious, too.
No, because it's a blockbuster movie, and Christopher Nolan need to make money back. You know, it's like really hard to make that guaranteed money back when you just put it on a streaming service.
Why
Unless
not
if you're
just
Wonder
wait?
Woman.
Just wait.
They were
Just
waiting.
wait.
Do you not
Because they
remember
were
they delayed it
sitting
like
on it for
8?
such a
They
long
delayed it
time.
like they delayed it like 4 times.
You
It was
can only
supposed to come out
delay it
in
so
May.
much, Luke, before the hype you've been marketing forever just like loses steam.
It was supposed to come out in like
That's
May or April, and then what do you call it? It was supposed to come out in July, and then it came out in August. You know, because like they had to delay it every time. And every time you delay it, it's like it's a lot of money. Wait, hold
So,
on.
Luke.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so Daniel, you had a topic you want to get to. This is a
No,
little bit
hold on,
serious.
hold on. Luke. Oh, are we going into that topic? I thought we were going into the other one that Luke's been trying to bring up the entire podcast.
Yes. What topic? Oh, our
Thoughts?
our hope for
I haven't even
2021.
talked. I've barely talked in the past 20 minutes. What are
Yeah,
you talking
Luke's a little
about?
out of it right now.
Well, I
He's
know.
on,
I meant
he's on
the
his phone.
entire podcast, not like just now. I meant like from the
our
beginning.
thoughts on 2021. It's gonna be bad.
It could be
It's gonna be
short.
just as bad as 2020, probably worse. So yeah, I'm
For me
keeping my hopes
personally,
low.
probably as well. I agree.
It's probably gonna be just as low. I don't know. Maybe aliens will come in, and then we'll have a dual race war where we hate where all the races combined.
Where not only do we hate ourselves because we are all different colors, but we also hate an outside.
Can we Can we agree on the racial slurs we want to give to the aliens right now?
No.
No, Luke. Luke's gonna base them off of the actual racial slurs we have.
Yeah.
No, I'm
He's
just saying
gonna combine
we
'em.
should just come up with a list of
Normally,
qualities that aliens might have and make racial slurs based on
I was
those.
gonna say normally they're based off of people's qualities. So I was gonna say unless we actually
that's what I'm
see them,
saying.
we're not gonna know.
I'm saying we'll just make a big list of the qualities
Do
aliens
you think
might
the Men in
have.
Black have a list like that of just all the racial
yeah, for
slurs
sure.
for every alien?
Banned,
Well, it's like-
banned terms that they're not supposed to use.
It's like watching Blade Runner, and they call him like it's like cyborg freak or like metal man. It's like clearly that's a very offensive term to use to those people. But like you're like on the outside looking in, you're like,
And it's like
metal
this
man.
means nothing to me.
Yeah, it's like it's not that.
I'd like
big
to
of
be
a
called
deal.
Cyber Freak, dude. That sounds dope.
Some good world building.
Also,
though.
in Cyberpunk, what does gonk mean? Because they've used it multiple times in the story.
Stupid.
I don't.
It means idiot.
I mean,
Idiot.
gonk. Okay.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Delta out of there. I don't get how that can be used.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they say
no.
Delta out of
Get
there all
out.
the time.
It just means leave.
Delta means change, sort of.
Well, guess
So-
what? It would be faster to say
Yeah,
leave
but not in
than
this.
Delta out of there.
Or
But
go. Let's
Naimur,
go.
we've talked about this before. If something gets into the common circulation enough, it just becomes the
Vernacular.
right way to say it. Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm forever now going to say, let's Delta.
I'm gonna be honest. This is
Now
just
on.
completely random. I don't fully understand every gang in Cyberpunk. There's like 7 or
See,
8.
that was a missed opportunity, too. It's like they don't use that gang
Yeah.
system
And
to
the
any degree.
corporations too.
You have the
corporations
Mox,
as
you
well.
have the Tiger Claws, you have certain regions have 2 at once.
Valentinos.
You got the
Valentinos.
Voodoo, you got the Valentinos, you got
I think,
like
yeah.
I don't
The
know,
Voodoo
there's too
Boys are the
many.
most fleshed out, theoretically.
I think they're
of all
they're the
of them.
I
most
think so, too.
fascinating in my opinion, just because it's like a different, unique thing other than just
Yeah, but like, they hyped
gang
everything
gang
up,
stuff.
like the Valentinos and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
they don't really do anything with them. So it's like a missed opportunity like Fallout New Vegas.
It's like
New Vegas did
basically
pretty
that
well.
whole region. If you just encounter a random enemy, they're likely to be from that gang. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wish you could
That's
tie allegiances to a specific gang. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And if that could like
Which is
affect
very
your
sense.
story, or if there was like plots
I also
with
wish.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wish the corporations were more.
Yeah,
important.
I wish there was more
'Cause
corporations.
the only
or-
one was Arasaka.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
I-
Like,
yeah.
they basically lied to us. That's why I'm not that mad that there's a class action lawsuit going around for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when CD Projekt Red is like, we're gonna fight this thing as hard as we can, it's like, yeah, bro, but you lied. So like, I don't know how you're gonna win.
What
this.
is the lawsuit even about?
It's just misrepresentation and misadvertising,
like false
basically.
marketing or whatever. False
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
Man.
And speaking of aliens, though, about how they
How do we
look
always
using
talk about
slurs.
Cyberpunk? I just want to point that out.
I know. But speaking
Go
about
ahead.
aliens and slurs and racism, alien racism, I saw this thing about how NASA has apparently proved that there are certain planets had past civilizations of humans, or just past civilizations.
I
in
don't know
general.
about that. I think that's probably
So like the former planets before us, like you don't think like that'd be the theory? Is like those used to have civilizations on them and they just like died out. They said there's past civilizations in the Milky Way in different planets.
So where did you
I
hear
mean,
this from?
potentially, but I don't.
Well,
I don't
it was on
know that they have
IGN,
any
but they
proof
said it was
of
from
that.
NASA.
Look,
Well,
here's what
did
I will
IGN
say.
say about it?
Here's
Here,
what
let
I
me
will
look it
say.
up.
That is their theory. That is what they are predicting. I don't think there's proof of it yet. Because the theory has always been that there are civilizations out. If there are,
Daniel, I'm gonna look this
there
up.
would be some that are extinct, some that are maybe like still being constructed, etc., etc.
Oh, it says the Milky Way may be full of dead civilizations. A group of scientists believe that while Earth is part of early development life, there are early developed life in the Milky Way galaxy. It's possible numerous planets have already seen alien civilizations fulfill their life cycles. So I guess it is a theory, but I don't think scientists would just say that if they
Again,
didn't have
it's
any
one of
backing
those-
for it.
I mean, it's once
Probably
again,
would,
it's
because
just
that's also
the,
how
what is it
science
called?
usually works.
The great filters with the what's that theory called? That everyone brings up all the time.
It's just called the Great Filter. Just call it the Great Filter.
Well,
I
you
don't
know,
it's
there's
just
like
why are we the third planet? You know what I mean? It's like why couldn't we be the last planet? It's like obviously
What?
logistically it's
Huh?
because of the temperatures and all that crap. I understand and the atmosphere, but like why
means
is
why
it
are
like
we,
just
like-
three?
why are we at this period of time of civilizations? He's saying why are we at like the end of it or whatever, or maybe the
I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's just asking why are we the third planet? It's
Fermi
because no
variant.
other planets for Daniel or Naimur. It's because no other planets formed between us and the sun.
What?
Do you
he
understand
just means
that?
the
Right?
whole Milky Way.
Or it's
I mean,
like,
in our solar system.
do you think we're the only life
No, he means
system in the
Milky
Milky Way? Like, obviously, in different galaxies, I'm sure there's life, but in the Milky Way itself, do you think we're the only life?
Obviously not.
I don't
Exactly.
think so.
Obviously.
I think
But
it's
do you think
statistically
it's-
unlikely, but I mean,
And do you think it's
I mean,
possible that, like,
probably
in Mercury and stuff, like, there's not anybody there? You know, or like,
I would
used to be people?
genuinely be so fascinated if we found microbes in the atmosphere, like they were talking about.
Because then
You
that's
guys
how
heard
you get
about
that's how you get a
guys
new
heard about that,
civilization,
right?
right?
Where they found like an
No, I haven't
organic
seen that.
molecule there in the atmosphere. In Mercury.
I don't know. Well, that's
In
how
Mercury?
life becomes, right?
Or was
Yeah.
it Venus?
I don't know.
In I think it might have been Venus's atmosphere. They found an organic molecule that, as far as they know, the only way to produce it is through organic means. Because there's certain chemicals like sugars and stuff which you can artificially produce, but one of the things that we haven't been able to produce is this chemical using like scientific means. It's literally just an organic waste, and so they found traces of it or like a large number of traces of it in Venus's atmosphere, or whatever planet's atmosphere. Clearly, I don't know much about it, but enough that they can literally they can do the. I don't know how they test this stuff.
And
but,
what
like,
if the
shine
gas
a laser at it
in-
and it tells them, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is the density and blah blah blah. So
Yeah, but what if the gas in Saturn is just the protective layer, like Wakanda? Obviously, this is a joke. I'm a little bit
like
joking.
you
It's like,
you open it up like a big like furry coat, and inside they're just partying. It's just like millions of
Yeah.
aliens just partying, like
Yeah.
woo.
That's why if you like immediately get in there, you like die, right, or something. If you try to get in,
You die. Well, I mean, just first of all, it's so turbulent. The winds are traveling at like hundreds of miles per hour, and
hundreds of thousands, probably, right?
no, I think just hundreds. I think it's not. I don't. I think on the poles it can get up to
Billions.
hundreds of thousands, but like, let's
Billions.
see how billions, dude. That also the planet's traveling at light years, dude.
That'd be so crazy. That's science is cool, man. Like it's weird to me that
I
these are
genuinely
universal
love learning
truths.
about science. Yeah, here we go. 270 to 425 miles per hour, or 430 to 680 kilometers per hour, winds. So yeah, I mean fast, but not like hurricane, tornado fast. Like not good. You will die, but yeah.
Yeah.
I love
I
just looking at like pictures from space. Just like photos of Jupiter can just be so like beautiful. It's like strange. It's like mesmerizing. You know what I mean? Like with the storms, and you can just picture like there's like storms and lightning and all of this stuff going on. I don't know. Sorry,
But it's like to me, it's like how do they figure these things out, right? Like how do we just know these
figure
certain
what
things?
things
Like
out specifically.
we just know, and we've never been there. Like we know that like the
Sure.
inside of Saturn is this, or like
Or no,
we know,
well,
like,
a lot of
you
that
know-
is like predictions based on how we understand planets form and such like that. So it's like even like our own understanding of the innards of the Earth. I don't know why I say innards.
yeah, that's the thing too. It's like
Technically,
we just
plate
believe that
tectonics
there's
is
different
still. I mean, it's a well accepted theory. And again, when we talk about scientific theories, normally they're like considered fact.
theory is the
But,
the
yeah.
best you can get. Yeah, you can't really
Exactly.
prove it without
So
going into this
again, so
there's
there's not. We're not gonna go out here and say, well, maybe plate tectonics aren't real, but like we also haven't been down there, and you don't have to be down there to.
Or it's like, how do we know
know
what a
the answer.
molecule looks like, man? Or it's like, they like show those diagrams.
Electron
or
lasers,
like,
dude. Electron lasers.
We've seen
bro.
it. Yeah.
You
Or
can
like
actually
when they show
see
like
it. It's
the-
just crazy though. How
or the
they do it.
diagram for the reproductive systems. Like, how did you know that the little spermy swirl is like swimming? And
Because
stuff
they
like that.
cut it open.
They've
dude.
seen it.
They've seen it. They've witnessed it on a
They
microscope.
put a little camera into the sperm, but then
They
like,
put a
what if-
GoPro on the sperm and let it.
an advanced GoPro, and then like what about like like how do they like depict what the uterus looks like and stuff like that? It's like
You know
so
what? Okay,
They've
but
seen
this is
it. They've
this is
seen it.
fascinating.
So
I
you're
like
telling
what
me they're
Naimur's
not
getting
nerds,
at.
Luke?
I genuinely enjoy figuring out how do we know science, not like what do we know, but how do we know. I got into this whole
But in a good way. Like that doesn't mean I'm gonna not believe it because it just
Oh
seems
no,
too good
for
to
sure.
believe.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You're just like saying that.
We're gonna rule America.
I was fascinated with how do we understand distances in space if you physically can't measure it, right? And I was like, maybe you could look at the light intensity, but then it's like the star could just be dimmer or brighter. So how do you know? And it's all of this fascinating stuff, like how do you determine how far the sun is and blah blah blah. And so it's really cool.
That's
it's like,
why science is so cool. It's just we just know this stuff. It's like
Yeah.
advanced technology.
and
dealing
we're
with stuff
very
like
smart.
that.
We figured out a lot of ways to calculate.
Or just the technology of the internet itself. How is that possible? That these frequencies
I'm
and
still
stuff
shocked
like
that
that's
the internet works.
yeah, the internet is
Yeah.
just a thing.
Like,
and
how
it was
is that a
made by the
thing?
government.
It's like
was
it's
made
not
by the
in
government,
one
yeah.
place. It's not in one place. That doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it needs to be like housed in a warehouse, but it's not. It's just
Or
like
better yet, Wi-Fi. How does Wi-Fi just work? And it's so fast. Like, how does that work? Like, it just doesn't make any sense that, like, I understand internet, like, maybe, like, wires and stuff, you connect a wire to a certain uplink and stuff like that. Like, that kind of makes sense. But it's like, it's in the air. Like, this Wi-Fi is literally in the air that you could just get
I would like to
from
point
your
out,
phone.
none of this is coming out of a place of like doubt or like disbelief, like it can't be real. It's coming out of a place of just pure wonder and shock, I think. I'm not trying to speak for Naimur, but it's just amazing
I
what
am.
we've been able to
I believe.
accomplish. Yeah.
And it's just like, also, the fact is, like, people might be thinking in, like, 20 years from now, it's like, wow, like, oh, you had to charge with a cord? How pathetic. Mine
I mean,
is
we're
literally
already
charging
getting
all
to
the
that
time.
point, right?
It's like, my phone is literally charging all the time, wherever I'm at. Like, I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
Or,
because there's
oh,
just
your
wireless
battery doesn't
charging
last.
everywhere.
Your battery doesn't last 50 years? Pathetic. For your iPhone? Are you serious right now? Like,
I always
really?
find that funny, dude. That's what the future's going to be. It's just going to be people like not being able to relate to our current time period.
Well, I was just like telling my mom, because my mom, like, I have to kind of like help her with a lot of technology stuff, right? Like, she didn't know how to update her Apple Watch, so I had to like figure it out. And I don't even own an Apple Watch, so I literally had to figure this out on my own. And then, I was like,
Mine
okay.
won't
And
update
then
because
I was
it's too full of storage, which makes me upset.
Exactly,
Why would you create
yeah.
an? Why would you create an? Anyways, I'm just upset with that. Anyways, go
yeah.
ahead.
And then, basically, I was telling my mom, I was like, it's like, yeah, like I understand that you don't understand any of this stuff. Like, I'm sure this will be me in like 40 years from now, where I just literally don't understand what's happening, or I can't fathom it.
Yeah.
It's like I can't. I'm really curious to see how video games are going to turn out. I know this is not the gamers edition, but I'm very curious how the video games are going to turn out in 40
I'm
years.
worried they're gonna be too complex for me in the future.
Too complex.
No, you know what's gonna be funny? They're gonna be the exact same complexity level. I'm just deteriorating mentally over time. And
I hope they
and
make them
physically.
faster, man. I hope like, or maybe like they progress or evolve in a way where it's like, oh, like you don't have to wait for the sequel. We're just gonna update it onwards. It's like
Yeah.
we have the bandwidth for this and like
I would
the
like to think-
storage and RAM.
I'm just picturing people in the future. Oh, your game doesn't run at 16K, 360 frames per second.
Not even 16K. It's like, oh, what's that? You need a TV to play your game? You literally can't just recept it off your eyeball? Are you serious right
It's
now?
like, do you guys not have the new like?
Oh my god, you have a
islands or whatever?
TV in your house? Ew.
Dude.
You
When
don't just
TVs
get
become
to have a
retro, I'm
goggle?
giving up. I'm giving up.
Oh my god.
I think
yeah.
Luke
or like
is very
hipsters.
not is very not enjoying us just appreciating science.
Or it's like,
I'm
or like
just
hipsters.
tired.
Yeah, Luke's just tired. But like, what if hipsters suddenly they're like, like I'm bringing it old school, and they get a TV just like for the vibes of it, but it's like a giant plasma screen
Dude,
TV.
when TVs become hipster, oh my god,
Oh my god.
that'll be so funny.
Because that was my thing about the whole smart glass thing, or no, Alumaroom, whatever it was called. Like Microsoft was making this AR technology that literally
You can see the
you could
TV
just
on
put-
any wall.
yeah, you just put the TV on a wall or something. It's like TVs will literally be obsolete.
But you need a flat
Everybody
wall.
has this.
'Cause
No, you don't.
otherwise-
Or you could just have it in the middle of the room. It literally doesn't matter.
But see, no, but
It's
then
like
there'd be
TVs will
stuff
be
behind
rendered
it. You'd still
obsolete.
be seeing stuff behind it.
Not necessarily. If you just have a black screen pitched out, like imagine you're literally like, this makes all TVs obsolete. Because
I guess.
why would you
yeah, I
spend
guess
like,
never mind, yeah.
why would you spend $400 on like a 40-inch TV when you can make an 80-inch TV appear
with
within
your
thin air?
mind? No,
With
I
your
mean with your
mind.
eyes, yeah, and some little technology, yeah.
That would be so cool, man. I don't know.
And
Future's cool.
this is our introduction into.
Daniel, did
Black
you want to
Mirror
talk about
universe.
your final topic? Or
No,
not?
I don't want to talk about it. Not really.
We'll talk about that next time when stuff is more serious and we're not wondering about the future
And Luke's
and being
not
excited for it.
beyond
Apparently.
beyond comprehensible.
Luke's so spaced out right, man.
Luke
right
has
now, man.
gone
He's so
into a
zooted.
psychosis.
I'm just completely.
He's in a psychosis.
TV down, brother.
Yeah, Luke ate brownies, but the sucky thing is they were just normal brownies.
They were just normal brownies, and
I'm
now
just
he's just
pissed.
feeling. He's feeling.
I'm just really mad.
He's having a food ache. Yeah. He's just like, darn. Well, yeah, I guess that's the end of the podcast, really. So,
Mhm.
if
We
anybody
really
want to
dragged
add
this
Luke?
one out. Sorry if the last 10 minutes was boring because Naimur and I were just being wowed by science.
That's not true. I'm excited for the future. if I survive.
I mean, me
obviously.
too, but I don't know that many people actually enjoy that. I don't know.
Predicting it right now, 2021, all three of us are going to get COVID-19 and not die.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't say that. Why'd you say that, dude? Oh my God.
Luke, can you knock on
Luke's
some wood
won
for us?
2 cents. He had not talked in like 20 minutes, and this
He's
is the
been
one thing he
thinking
has
of
to
that
say.
joke for about 30 minutes now. He's been He's like, I gotta come up with a final
Hey,
joke.
But what did I jinx, though? Did I jinx getting
No,
COVID-19?
stop,
Or not
stop.
dying?
Or not dying? Dude, stop!
Oh my God.
No,
stop.
I just...
Oh, God.
When
Well,
did I
hey,
jinx?
guys, at least we'll have
When
this
did I jinx?
podcast as a record of who we were before we died.
Yeah. Another thing, though,
Mm-hmm.
at the end, I do wonder, genuinely, like these problems that are currently facing us, like climate change, like it's really just every other country is taking it seriously except the U.S. currently, right? Because of the regime and all that stuff. That I wonder, it's like in the future, by the time we get a competent leader, he could be a righty or a lefty, who knows?
Well, I wouldn't say...
Let's say miraculously the Democrats get the Senate and all this stuff and yada yada, and they actually get stuff done.
It's not
right?
hey, Warnock and Ossoff are leading right now.
I do not believe polls whatsoever. Ever
Yeah, Luke,
in my life.
I think
I know.
we're
I'm
done
just
with
saying-
polls. We're done with those
I'm just
right
saying.
now.
I'm just saying. Right now, they are leading.
And
You
Luke
say that
actually
and
just
watch, you're
jinxed the
jinxing it
race.
again.
Luke
Yeah.
just jinxed it again. Luke, you jinxed 2021 for the rest.
Yeah. So effectively, I just think, these problems like climate change and, the fact that the administration's not taking it seriously because they don't believe it's an issue, or even worse, they probably know it's an issue, but they'd rather have the lobbyists make money for it.
Oh, that's definitely the case.
Yeah.
They
Oh
definitely
yeah,
know it's an
oil
issue.
execs know what they're doing is bad for the environment, but they just
So do
don't care
Republicans.
because it won't
But it's-
affect them
so
in
do-
their lifetime.
So to higher up Republicans, I should say.
Exactly. So I think, this whole pushback we're getting from this, I wonder in like maybe 20 years' time, if we're going to look back on that and be like, Joe Schmo came into office and it became a non-issue, climate change. It's crazy to us.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, because we're
By
having
Joe
these
Schmo,
regrets.
I just want to say he wasn't specifically referring to Joe Biden.
Joe
by the way.
Biden,
Joe
no, I was
Schmo is
not.
just like
Just a random
insert
dude.
name here. Yeah, he's
Random
saying
dude or
somebody
gal.
in the future could
Out or
fix
gal.
it instantly.
Or gal. Let's say Queen AOC, comes in, saves us all.
Queen AOC becomes a monarchy.
That's what the Republicans' worst nightmare is, that a monarchy forms in the U.S. and AOC is the first queen of the United States of America.
And yet they're currently heading towards a totalitarian direction.
No, it's their worst
Anyways.
nightmare, but also their wet dream.
Yeah, but they don't want to admit that. Yeah, they don't wanna
AOC,
admit
send Ben Shapiro feet pics already, okay? Just get it over
It's
with.
like, oh, please, Senator Ocasio-Cortez, or Representative Ocasio-Cortez, don't step on my balls. Please don't do it. Don't force me to lick your heels.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
What a
it's
great
like,
way
you
to
know
end
how-
the podcast, dude.
It's how they were.
getting
No,
people
this is an even
turned
better
on.
way. It's like how there were memes about school shooters. And it's like hot girls. You should just try and sleep with them. Take one for the team so that they don't do this stuff.
God.
It's like AOC, Ben
I
Shapiro,
saw
that
that.
type of vibe. Stuff like
Yeah.
that. And that's a great way to end it. So
Well,
thank you guys so much.
hypothetically, if you could end the podcast, how would you end the podcast?
I would
like
have
this.
AOC and Ben Shapiro, and I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching or listening, I guess. See you guys later.
Maybe. Yeah, bye.